Some of that wet weather is happening and tracking it across the area.
And we're talking about the king tide, what that means and what people in Florida are concerned about right here on First Alert Weather Extra. And of course, your weather pictures and videos, including this look at the harvest moon.
Live on your side, First Alert Weather Extra starts right now.
You mentioned the moon last night. You catch it, Tania. It was absolutely gorgeous from Red Mountain.
Yeah, I was so jealous. All the pictures kept flooding in, and
Yeah.
some of these people just know how to take a picture of the moon and the sky in general. I'm so astonished.
Maybe that was a sign, right? We'd finally get a little bit of rain. I know for some of us, I talked to someone, not a drop of rain in 14 weeks. Can you believe that?
I believe it. I definitely believe it.
Well, hopefully, if you've missed out, you'll get a little bit of this wet weather. We're tracking some rain right now. We'll get right to it. But what I do want to do right now is take you to National Night Out. So where we do have some breaks in the rain, we do have the weather's cooperating with some of the events happening. This is in Shelby County at Calera, and the police are conducting a demonstration there. A lot of folks out and about, and a lot of first responders. Just a great awareness in the community, and folks coming out. And, you know, if you need help, even with programming weather radio, some folks are there that could certainly help you out. And, of course, any concerns that you have about whether it's safety around your home with respect to fire detection and also security, you can always check in with the folks there at these National Nights Outs, and they're always wonderful community events. But folks there in Shelby County right now enjoying a nice little break in the wet weather. You can see as we look at Birmingham, it's dry at the moment, but this is rain happening to the north. Those are clouds producing some rain, believe it or not. I know it's just been like that, but there's some showers there to the north. And there was one view. I want to show you this one. This is from that Commerce One bank cam in downtown Birmingham, looking back to the west direction, and look at this tall cloud. Yeah, you might get some rumbles of thunder out of this one. And where you're looking at, this right now is over Tuscaloosa County and pushing in towards places like Woodstock at the moment, northern Bibb County, but moving through Vance and Coaling, all those areas. I'll show you what it looks like on the radar as we go back over, and you see right there, and that's what we're looking at, and you can see how far that is from the city of Birmingham. But that's going to continue on towards the east, so there's a good chance that this might end up around places like Bessemer, McCalla, perhaps Hueytown. Well, it might be a little south of there. There's Hueytown on the map. It's going to be close. We might get a little bit of rain, but also to the south here around West Blockton. I mentioned Woodstock, and also maybe Shelby County, maybe as far east as Alabaster. Hopefully it'll hold together. But around Coaling, we're not seeing lightning with this at the moment, but some pockets where we really have some heavy rain coming down. There's a lot of moisture in the atmosphere. That's what's incredible is we do have tropical moisture. We've got a front moving in, a lot of things that work in the favor of rain, yet we can't get much rain. And that just shows you how strong this drought is and how tough it is to break out of these drought patterns once they develop. But as we get more wet weather here, at least that's enough to help settle the dust. Coleman County, we're big winners today. We've seen multiple pockets of showers move across this area. Smith Lake getting some rain, and around Jasper, it looks like it's breaking up right over the city. Maybe this will kind of fill in here with this rain as that moves to the east. Sneed, Aniana to Sneed there may get some rain in the northern part of Blount County as these showers move through. But overnight tonight, you can see this all starts to track to the east direction, and by tomorrow morning, most of these scattered showers will be down to the southeastern part of the coverage area. Next big thing, we're going to be talking about some cooler weather. Well, I should say colder mornings by the weekend. We'll have that for you coming up in the extended forecast. Right now, let's head over to Tania to get an update on a new tropical storm.
Yes, Tropical Storm Jerry, newly formed earlier today, and it is our next named storm. So we're following it. Right now it's in the Atlantic. It's got maximum sustained winds at around 50 miles per hour. It looks pretty organized, but it's just not quite strong enough to be a hurricane. As we track it over the next couple of days, though, it's expected to strengthen into a hurricane as early as about Wednesday, and then could strengthen into a Category 2 hurricane as we approach the weekend. Look at the track of this. It's expected to move through the Atlantic and then eventually make that curve north, steering away from the east coast of the U.S., which is good news for us because we're not seeing any direct impacts from that system. But we also are watching a tropical disturbance out in the Gulf that has a very low chance of developing. I didn't have a pause point there, but that one very low chance of developing. We're keeping our eyes on. It's in the southwestern portions of the Gulf. And right now, no impacts from that one expected here across central Alabama as well. We'll have more updates on the tropics later on tonight, though, so be sure to check in with us first at 9. We'll be back, though. You're watching First the Weather Extra after the break.
All right, we're already talking about the weekend coming up because we're going to have some nice weather. It's going to be cool during the mornings and really the first true fall weekend temperature wise. I mean, highs in the 70s, lows down into the 50s to start the day. Oak Grove Fall Festival, though, right on time, and it looks like the weather's going to be perfect there. 73 degrees around 11 o'clock in the Oak Grove and Sylacauga areas. Alabama fans traveling, maybe you're leaving well before the weekend. We want to make sure you have that forecast for the away game. If you're heading to Mizzou, nice weather expected. 70 at kickoff and 81 in Columbia for the end of the ball game. And we've got another classic matchup this weekend with Auburn and Georgia, and that's going to be quite the game there to check out. It kicks off at 6:30 in the evening, 71. What an evening at Jordan-Hare Stadium. It's going to feel incredible if you're heading down to the Plains there Saturday evening. But otherwise, right now we're tracking some scattered showers. One more quick check here on the radar before we send it back over to Tania. And we are seeing some rain pushing through Tuscaloosa County, and it looks like it's holding together. I would say over the next 60 minutes, if you're in Woodstock, West Blockton, Million Dollar Lakes area, Bucksville, McCalla, and also maybe North Johns might get some of this rain at that northern extent as this tracks to the east. And Dora to Warrior, Hayden, and Hanceville. Smoke Rise also a first alert for some rain moving in your direction. So nice to see some wet weather out there, Tania.
It sure is, Wes. I know people who are getting it are pleasantly pleased. Well, let's talk about this. The king tides are here and are expected to stick around this week along the entire southeast coast, with flooding being reported from Florida to North Carolina. Robert Ray has the story.
Every day you see the residents come, and it's a vigil looking at these houses.
At one point, all of this shoreline was concrete with more than 100 yards of beach. But over the years, and accelerating in recent days, a catastrophic scenario emerged for homeowners here, with massive erosion leading to flooding and more than a dozen home collapses here in the Outer Banks.
We see the sand accumulate, it comes and goes, and it's just, we've never seen it this severe.
And this week's king tide, combined with the supermoon, will mean even bigger challenges over the next few days. You can see here, the tide is already causing flooding in some parts of Florida and South Carolina. And residents along the coast say they were shocked to see how quickly it all happened.
It's just, really traumatic loss of beach, and there wasn't much here to begin with. So it's been kind of eye-opening to see how quickly it can all go to the sea.
Now the question becomes, what will folks do with houses that are in danger but haven't fallen into the ocean? Well, some residents are calling on the state to declare an emergency, pointing out they built their homes here long before the coastal erosion began.
If I had $1 for every time somebody said, well, this is the price you pay for living on the coast.
Right.
This was not what these people envisioned when they built homes decades ago.
We're not expecting conditions to get to any kind of normalcy until next week. So people are still on guard and wary of the dangers here on the OBX. In Buxton, North Carolina, Robert Ray, Fox Weather.
Well, coming up, something just happened with the weather in the United States for the first time in more than a dozen years. We'll tell you about it when we come right back on First Alert Weather Extra.
You're watching WBRC 6 News, Alabama Broadcasters Association's Station of the Year.
Well, we are in October, so if you look at the activity during hurricane season, we're past the peak, which of course happened on September 10th. So it's kind of going downhill, but we can still see a lot of systems develop in October. By the time we get in November, maybe 1 or 2 storms, and then by December 1st, the season is officially over. So let's talk about where storms usually form in the month of October. This is just based off history over several decades of analyzing how systems develop. Usually in October, this is when we start seeing cold fronts make their way across the eastern half of the country, and that's when we start seeing that cool air. And these cold fronts are sort of like force fields, a barrier that helps steer these tropical systems away. So when these fronts move through, it prevents them from hitting us and keeps them out across the Atlantic. So a lot of areas that we need to watch is usually in the Caribbean, in the Gulf, and off the East Coast. So if we have a system try to form in the Caribbean, if we have these cold fronts moving through, they usually move up to the north and west, get blocked, and then they get steered out into the Atlantic Ocean. And then sometimes we get these fronts kind of stall out in the Atlantic, and you get these areas of low pressure to form, and sometimes they can develop and quickly move on out into the northern Atlantic. So those are the 2 areas to watch, and sometimes we'll get storms forming as well in the eastern and central Atlantic, just like Jerry that formed this morning. So let's show you the outlook as we go into the upcoming week or so. This is between now and October 14th. Colorado State, they put out their 2-week tropical outlooks, and they're forecasting about a 59–60% chance of an above average activity, and we're already starting to see some of that already today. About a 40% chance of seeing near average activity and just a 1% chance of below average. So we are expecting tropical activity to continue as we go into the next 7 days. Besides Jerry, where else do we need to watch? Well, going into October 15th through the 21st, looking at the global tropics hazards outlook, got to watch this region into the eastern Pacific, in the southern Gulf, and in the Caribbean. It looks like we're going to see lots of moisture lowering pressures around the 15th to the 21st, so about a medium chance we could see something tropical form. The big question is, which basin is it going to form? Is it going to be in the Atlantic side, or is it going to be in the eastern Pacific? Something to watch as we go into next week.
A tornado that left massive destruction in North Dakota a couple of months ago has been upgraded to EF5. That's the highest classification on the enhanced Fujita scale, which is used to determine a tornado's strength. This particular twister had winds of over 200 miles per hour when it hit Enderlin, North Dakota on June 20th. The tornado was a mile wide and its path was 12 miles long. Sadly, 3 people were killed. It's the first EF5 tornado to hit the United States since 2013. The United States is seeing an increased number of wildfires. You may remember at the beginning of the year, devastating fires swept through Los Angeles. 30 people were killed in the blazes, which did between $30 and $50 billion worth of damage in Los Angeles County alone. Peter Zampa is in Washington State speaking to Fire Chief about what, if anything, can be done to stop the carnage.
In 2024 alone, wildfires scorched about 9 million acres across the U.S. and destroyed about 5,000 buildings, according to the National Interagency Fire Center. And here in Washington State, they're all too familiar with these disasters. And the McLean Black Lake Fire Chief, Leonard Johnson, tells me it's straining resources.
It started back over in this corner.
Chief Johnson shows me the aftermath of a recent wildfire in Thurston County.
Somebody driving a screw through a metal piece, and it sparked off into grass.
This fire burned nearly 30 acres before local crews put it out, saving homes nearby. In this part of the country, preparedness is key for people living in what Chief Johnson calls the intermix, man-made structures built where the land is wild.
Forest fires have occurred for ever since the Earth's existed. What's changed is where we live. It's not that the fire regime, in the sense of us having fires, has changed. Obviously, by us living in that environment, we have increased the number of ignitions that occur.
Which means more pressure on first responders. And Chief Johnson says federal funding cuts to FEMA and disaster preparedness are a concern.
We lost some experience in what happened at the federal level. We also lost some of our response capability because of the concerns people had with being employed. And so we haven't seen anything devastating from the feds at this point. There's a lot of concern in there with the unknown of coming into the new budget cycle.
Since 2005, we've had the 7 worst wildfire years in U.S. history. The frequency, the severity, both trending upwards, and that leaves scenes like this one behind. You have charred trees, a black landscape as far as the eye can see. Now, Dr. Paul Loikith says a warming climate helps provide a spark.
Some of these are things that we've had to deal with for a long time. They're just becoming harder to deal with.
Loikith says it's not every year we're going to see fires raging at historic levels. Many of the headline-grabbing fires unluckily coincide with severe wind, allowing for spread. But with forests already naturally burning because of things like lightning strikes, humans providing additional sparks, and hotter temperatures creating dry fuel for fire to spread, the conditions are increasingly favorable for these disasters.
If humans weren't affecting the climate in any way, we would still have really bad fire years and less bad fire years. And so climate change is acting kind of as a multiplier on top of this variability in rather complex ways.
It's evident the number of contributing factors fueling these wildfires continues to grow. And even if it is too late to turn the tide on worsening fire seasons, folks like Chief Johnson and his team will still be out there fighting. I'm Peter Zampa, listening to America.
A live look right now from Woodstock, Alabama. We've got a mean-looking cloud rolling in. The good news, we got some rain rolling into town right now. You can see the wind picking up, but we had a nice little shelf cloud. You could see it a few moments ago here on the camera as it moved through, but seeing a little bit, that's what we call scud cloud there, but that's a sign that we do have some rain that is falling, some of those cloud fragments there, so might have to flip on the windshield wipers. And for folks out and about tonight, I know we got a lot of events going on. Looks like we got some games happening at the park out in Helena, and down in Calera, the National Night Out is happening. A lot of folks out there with the police department and a lot of first responders, but Pelham as well. A lot of events going on. So tonight, if you're in Shelby County, especially here in Helena, some of that rain that we're seeing around Woodstock, giving you the first alert. You know someone out here, tell them to keep a watch on the weather because there is a little cell that is approaching from the west. So just switching sources here. I want to take you back over to the radar, and I'll show you where this is with respect to Helena. And you can see right there, nice little pocket of rain. Not seeing much lightning to this, but it's a tall cloud. Might get a lightning strike, and there's some development further north. All of this is along a boundary that's gradually making its way through the state. We won't see the temperatures plummet tonight, but this will be enough to kick off some rain even well past midnight, even for areas to the east. But we get in here closer. Here's Bucksville. There's McCalla, Bessemer, and this is Caffey Junction and Woodstock. So Caffey Junction down towards Woodstock, West Blockton, some heavy rain about to move in and really coming down here. It's about to cross right at the interstate there. The junction, the Highway 5 junction there off Interstate 5920, that exit, that's about where that heavier rain is going to pick up. But it looks like it is tapering off. You get to the Coaling exit over into Tuscaloosa County. So that's a rough stretch there from Vance, where the Mercedes plant's located, all through there. Some heavy rain. Duncanville getting some rain. How about that? Heading down towards the Talladega Forest. We could use it down in here. It's going to move in towards Hagler and Eolan and areas there across of Bibb County. So a nice little downpour. It's just taking its time moving across Tuscaloosa County. You couldn't have asked for a better setup with respect to that area of rain. The models, they're saying not so much as far as the rainfall. They're not too impressive, but the one good thing is the radar is more impressive than what we're seeing on the model data. So that's why I'm feeling pretty good about our chance for scattered showers through the overnight. No matter what the models say, we got a front, we got moisture, so the chance is there, and we're going to have a chance for some scattered development through the early morning hours. Now the temperatures stay rather mild here through the morning, highs in the low 80s. Wednesday, we wake up to some rain moving out to the east. The rest of the day looks dry. Thursday, some showers could come around once again as we have the next push of cooler air that's going to move in. I want to go ahead and jump over to our 10-day forecast so you'll see as we get to Friday and Saturday, lows down into the 50s, and it looks like Sunday morning down to 54 degrees. Early Saturday, early Sunday, with it being so dry especially, a very good chance that we're going to see those low temperatures down in the upper 40s across northeast Alabama for the first time. That possibility is there, but it looks dry through next week. And right now we want to check in with Tania for an update. Tania, we were looking at a system out around October the 20th that may bring a chance of rain and maybe even some colder air perhaps, which is right on track for this time of the year.
It really is, Wes, and this is part of the next big thing that we're following. I know many of you have been waiting desperately for a relief in the heat, and I'm here to say that it is coming. We are watching that drier and cooler air coming in from the Pacific Northwest, our northern states. It's going to bring in and actually filter into central Alabama as we approach closer to the end of this month. So a major cool down is expected. The one unfortunate thing about all of this is that I'm not seeing the wet weather coming with it. So if you're hoping for drought-busting conditions as we approach the end of the month of October, well, you might want to take a seat for a second because I don't see that anytime soon. As we look at our rain outlook, our precipitation outlook as we approach the next 10 to 15 days out from now, October 13th through the 17th, you can see that we're actually looking at below average rainfall across the southeast, including us right here across central Alabama. We'll keep you up to date though, but I'm hoping for more of those mornings in the 50s and highs in the 70s closer to the end of this month. We'll keep you up to date. More right here on First Weather Extra. Don't go anywhere. We're back after the break.
All right, Tania, 10-day forecast. Looks like a little bit of rain tomorrow morning, but the window of opportunity, it fades quickly after tonight.
Yeah, honestly, not a whole lot to look forward to as we approach the weekend. Matter of fact, hey, fall festivals, look forward to that.
Yeah, and it's going to feel nice and cool coming up during those morning hours. But how about that harvest moon with those breaks in the clouds? You'll see it again tonight, that bright moon, but Parrish, a lovely view there from Fay Cannon.
And this one, when we talk about an isolated downpour, this is what we mean. This is near Anniston. Thanks to Doug for sending that in to us. Cool picture.
That's about the way it's been, right? Isolated.
Very
and
isolated.
The clouds really putting on a show. A lot of rain down along the coast. Susan Doss sharing this view from Gulf Shores.
Love that. And this beautiful look at a sunrise over Alexandria. Thanks to Wesley Faulkner for sending that in.
All right, again, that October sky, you gotta love it. But hey, there's still some rain out there, so check the First Alert weather app. We'll be tracking some rain this evening, and we'll have more on some cooler weekend temperatures later tonight.